write down these three words. And I believe that these three words represent the three core sin issues that are behind every bad behavior that we can think of. And I know that's a pretty big statement, but I'm going to stand by it. So our three root level sins, you can remember these sins with a very gross acronym called PUS. PUS is gross, sin is gross. So PUS, the P stands for pride. The U stands for unbelief. And the S stands for selfishness. To help you understand that just a little bit more with my anger, just because I'm talking about that to give you a representation of what that looks like. Again, what was behind my anger was my desire for respect. In James 4, it talks about what causes fights and quarrels among you? Is it not the desires that wage war within you? And so the desire in my heart was respect. And where this gets a little interesting is that my desire for respect was not a bad thing. It was a good thing. I believe that God gave me and God gave all of us a desire to be respected. The problem is that I wanted respect too much. And that's important because we can desire something, a good thing, but if we desire a good thing too much, it's going to turn into a bad thing. To put in other language, I was letting my desire for respect turn into a demand. And so I wanted that. And the reason it turned into a demand is because of these three sin issues. I was prideful. I thought that I deserved respect. Pride says I deserve something. And since I thought that I deserved it, and since God gave me a wife to respect me, that's when I started to demand it from her. And when she didn't give it to me, that's when I started to get angry. And my anger was actually a sinful attempt to get her to respect me. Didn't work out very well because I married a strong woman. She backed further and further away, and that resulted in some of our dance. So again, I desired respect because I was prideful. I thought that I deserved it. Let me jump down to selfishness. The selfishness was also behind my respect. It's because selfishness says this. Selfishness says, I want. I want, I want, I want. And I want is okay, but I wanted so much that it stood in the way from what we're called to give more, and that's to give. I was more focused on getting than I was giving something. And so again, that selfishness says, I want. I wanted respect, and I said I deserved respect. And that led me to start demanding respect. The unbelief is a little bit more complicated, but I'm going to spell this out. We'll talk about it more tomorrow in conflict. But here's how unbelief works. The reason that I was demanding, one of the reasons that I was demanding respect from Star is because I didn't believe that I had everything that I needed in a relationship with Christ. At the end of the day, I wasn't believing that Christ provided me that respect, that worth, that acceptance. And because I didn't believe that Christ was giving me that respect, I was starting to demand it from my wife. So the unbelief was I wasn't believing God for who he said that he was. I didn't think that he actually respected me, that he sent his son to die for me, that he accepts me perfectly, he's forgiven me, and all the worth that comes from a relationship with him. Since I didn't understand what I had vertically, I started to look for it horizontally. And again, this plays out in every single one of your sinful behaviors. It's rooted in pride, which again says I deserve. It's rooted in selfishness, which says I want. And it's rooted in unbelief, which if we really want to get technical, unbelief is the root of sins. It all starts with unbelief. Because if we really believed that we had everything that we need in a relationship with Christ, then we wouldn't be so focused on thinking we deserve something or wanting something, and we would be focused purely on what we're going to talk about here in just a second, and that's giving something. Because God has put us on this planet to serve out of a place of abundance in a relationship with him.